Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning from Toronto, and good evening, everyone from India. This is Tazkia Arusa. I'm the founder of Autism Pilot. This is a Facebook page and a YouTube channel where I talk about autism and how I helped my son with my strategies to help him develop his speech and to make his behavior better with my personal experience and research. So today's topic how is where I'm going to talk about how I have helped my son to develop his speech. He was completely nonverbal, but right now he's talking and he's in the echolalia stage. And I will be also touching a little bit base on how I'm trying to break the echolalia phase so that he can, use the words to interact better and more, um, uh, more with understanding. So let's dive in. Um, so basically, my son, who I call my son today, he is actually the son of my husband and from his previous wife, and I'm not his biological mother. So when my son was 3.5 years old, that's when I found him, and we immediately had a very special connection. I don't know, it was just God sent. And he was nonverbal and he couldn't talk, but the first word he said was mama after just seeing me. So it was just wonderful. But then when started observing his behavior after my marriage, I noticed a lot of red flags and I kept talking to my husband, but nobody listened to me. But then when we came here in Toronto, I was very adamant on getting help for him. So the first step, what I did was to get him a diagnosis. And the diagnosis helped me to, get help from a lot of resources. But then getting help from resources was another challenge too, because it costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time as well. So what I did was my first reaction, like when I saw when I saw my son, I always used to keep thinking like, isn't he going to talk anymore? Like, isn't he going to talk ever again in his life? And this was very frustrating, but I actually did not let it get it to me. So my first objective was to get him into a special school because I thought that the normal schools wouldn't be able to help him, and we had a very bad experience in the first few months as well. So when he was placed in the normal, like special school, the special school was a small class, it's a big school with small classrooms for children with like my son who have special needs. So there were many teachers who could give one-to-one attention to him. So I had a rapport with the teacher, and the teacher was like, "We are going to work on this and that," but they never talked about how they're going to help with the speech. Yeah. So what happened was, um, yeah. So what happened was, I, in my mind, like my heart would say that there's no hope for him, but my mind never stopped, finding out so ideas like how I could make him talk. So from my personal experience, when I used to sit idle, I always used to think like when we are talking, we are moving our jaw, we are moving our mouth. So what if I can assist to, do some movements on his mouth and jaw? So that at least if it becomes a little bit more flexible, he might start talking. So I started giving him the massages around his mouth and his jaw to ease the muscles around so that with the hope that maybe one day he will start making some sounds. But then I realized that he was making sounds. He was making sounds like ooh, ooh, something like that. But he wasn't able to make any appropriate words. So what I did was um, I started to, sit him down with me so that he was on the eye to eye level, and I would encourage him to say with the syllables like ah, mm, and I would also focus on the vowels as well so that he would start imitating me. At first, he wouldn't understand the instructions at all, so it was very difficult for him to follow through. Then, what I did was I used to make exaggerated, like mouth movements with the sounds. And obviously, like I am a very loud talker, so whenever I spoke, there was nobody else in the house except for the three of us. My husband would always be at work. So it was me talking to him all the time, and my voice was very loud for him. So if I told him, say, let's do and I would do the mouth movement, and I would try to make it fun for him. I did not do any extra hand gestures or anything because I wanted him to focus on my mouth. So slowly, slowly, what happened with time, he started following my mouth movements and he was trying to, produce some sounds. When he was able to, copy me saying I started moving to O, then then E. Slowly, slowly it happened, but he could not catch on all the the sounds I was trying to make. But he would follow the mouth movements. I never stopped with the massages on his mouth. And later, when I did my research, I found out that it was called the oral motor massage, and it was very helpful for developing speech. So I was feeling a little bit more confident, thinking that okay. So whatever I was doing, this has a scientific backup saying that okay, this is called oromotor massages and it is also helpful in developing speech in nonverbal children. So I thought I started feeling more confident than I was. Then I thought like okay, even if he's not going to speak, and let me teach him how to follow my instructions or directions, so that at least if he's not able to speak, he will start, he might start talking, which I actually did not have any hope by heart, but my brain did not want to believe that. But then I thought, okay, what if I raise him to be such a boy that he can follow all the instructions and directions and he can do everything on his own. Let me just focus on his life skills first, like building his life skills. Then speech, if it comes, good. If it doesn't come, I'll just get him an assistive device to speak. Then slowly with time, I realized that he was understanding what I say. That is because it wasn't in the very beginning. It was very later in the time when I simultaneously always also was working on his ABA. Here in Toronto, getting ABA is a very big challenge, like a super big challenge. Like we have to wait for at least 1 year, and if the wait list is longer, it's 2 years. And for the ABA sessions, it costs around like 30 to $60,000 just for the ABA sessions, and it's super expensive. And given this time, I thought like, okay, I could just sit back on the ABA and do something on my own so that he learns all the basic skills, and I can just curb his behavior so that he's not being aggressive and he's learning to respect authority and listen to them. So whilst I was working on his ABA requires a lot of talking and a lot of activities as well. So during that time, I did not stop talking to him. And given my nature, I'm a very talkative person. So I kept talking to him all the time, and he would listen to me because he had nothing else to do, right? Because I was very loud all alone inside the house whenever he wasn't going to school, and he would always have to listen to me talking. So it was me talking, or it was the TV. So, yes, I forgot to mention one thing. Like when we got his diagnosis in like the first official diagnosis, his developmental pediatrician also mentioned that I should reduce a lot of his screen time. And at first, I thought like, how do I do that? It is so difficult because he's always stuck to the screen and he does not look up. And even if he looks up, he's just looking at the corners. So I thought I took it upon me as a challenge, and I thought I am going to do this. If it's going to help my son, I am going to do this. And for this, I had to go through a lot of turmoil. Like my husband would always give him the phone, like, and he would just keep on arguing with me, saying that no, he needs to be on the phone because he needs some kind of entertainment. But in my back of my mind, I was thinking, for entertainment for him cannot be YouTube. it's like source of entertainment for him cannot be YouTube or like it's screen time. His source of entertainment should be like us, like how we grew up. Like we did not have a lot of screen time. We did not have any screen time at all. Like what we had was Cartoon Network to watch on the TV, and that was also limited. Like there were time slots for when we could watch. Then I started thinking, okay, like I had my time to play, I had my time to sit, I had my time to do some activities. So why don't I do the same things for him? It was very difficult to control him at first because he is a very hyperactive child and he was in the very aggression side in the beginning. But later, with my ABA methods, I was able to control him to keep him calm and started teaching him to sit down in one place, or otherwise the repercussions for him were to follow. Repercussions would be like if he liked something to eat, that wouldn't be available. If he liked something to do, that wouldn't be available. So that taught him how to follow the directions. When he understood by the action, I incorporated my words. So whenever I was talking to my son, he would follow my mouth movements very well, right? Because he started following the sounds which I was making with my mouth, and he would do the mm, mm. So this was enough for him to understand, and I would speak very loudly, but not with a high speed. I would speak very quite slowly, in fact, so that he would understand whatever I was talking about. So, with time, what happened when I started talking to him, I realized, and it wasn't just talking, I was giving him instructions and I was always sitting down with him. He started following the instructions and the directions, whatever I was asking him to do, like putting the clothes in the laundry basket or putting the clothes outside of the laundry basket and inside the washing machine, carrying the plate all the way to the kitchen and put it there. So it took a lot of time, but he started learning to do that. He had a bad habit of jumping on the bed, and what I used to do was I would just, hold him down and tell him, "You spoiled the bed. Look, now you're going to fix it." And what I did was I would keep telling him, "Fix bed, fix bed." So whenever I would say this, I would show the action as well with my hand, like that is how we fix the bed. And I would take his hand and model it with him. So that's when he understand, like, that's when he started to understand, like, oh, I jumped. Now the result is mommy is angry like this. And I would show him, like, okay, I'm angry by crossing my arms. And I would tell him, now fix bed. You've spoiled it. Now you fix the bed. In a few days, he started doing that. And that was a big achievement for me. And I was so happy. Then I realized that a lot of things were getting easier for him to understand. So I wanted to make it more interesting for him, as he was addicted to watching Coco Melon. And I understand I found out like a lot of children, even not with special needs, they are very addicted to Coco Melon. It's okay for the children who don't have any problem, but for children with special needs, they don't understand what the situation in Cocomelon is going on. Like it's a learning cartoon, but educative cartoon, but they're not getting any education, but rather they're following the cartoon characters, like how they're moving and whatnot, and they try to imitate those in in with themselves, like in reality. So it kind of also induces virtual autism in them. So I was thinking, okay, he likes the sound of the rhymes that goes on in Cocomelon. Why don't I sing the songs? Why don't I do it with like for him? So what I would do is, I would just stand beside the TV, just like a teacher would do in the classroom. And I would just, whatever song came on Cocomelon, I would just, start doing my hand movements. And I would speak like, I would sing the rhymes on with my own voice, with my own tone. he started looking at me instead of looking at the TV. And that's when, he started picking up on words, but very slowly. It would come occasionally, like once in 6 months. But at least he knew what he was learning, right? Because he, like, whenever the song Wheels on the Bus would come on the TV, he would just do this. He would just start rolling. But his rolling wasn't very clear because of his occupational problems too. But still, he could connect. So that's when I realized that he needs connecting words, like connections with the real life scenario, like with the actions. So I started teaching him verbs like eat, watch, then no, this, that. So it started with single words, then I started moving on to two words, and that's how it kept on going. This happened when I was sitting down with him to teach him the um, single words, for example. But then, thankfully, I had a few weeks of session from a speech and language pathologist here in Toronto, and it was covered because he was still like in his school age, like in his preschool age program. So yeah, that's how I got connected with her. However, I was going through a lot of physical challenges myself. Like I wasn't feeling too well because of my back problems and whatnot. So it was difficult for me to, take him all the way to a different part of the city and, get him the session done. So I requested the speech and language pathologist to like join us on a virtual session, like on virtual sessions, so that she could teach us the strategies, or she could just sit down with him and see how he was reacting. Then she was telling me that her job was to teach me the strategies so that I could deploy it on him. What happened was whatever strategies she was teaching me, and I would just tell her, oh, I'm already doing this, I'm already doing this, I'm already doing this. And she was very happy with me. And she told me that, look, the session is supposed to be 6 weeks long, but I don't think you need that many sessions. And your child seems to be very comfortable with you. And our job is to like help you to learn the strategies. Slowly, slowly, what happened was I started incorporating play, like building Lego blocks with him. So whenever I would build the Lego blocks, I would tell him push, tall, building. So he started learning that, and he did not have any sense of play, but he started learning to play. Then, in terms of food, yes, for most importantly, I forgot to mention that I started understanding where his interests were. So I realized that my son's interest was in food, like he loved food. He did not like to play, but he liked to run. But what kind of running? Then where would he run and how much could he run? He was involved in a lot of self-harming activities as well. So that also gave me some, areas to work on where I could use my speech. What happened was, my son was going through a really tough time, and I had to call the hotline to get urgent response service. This is a team who come in our homes to help the children with autism if they're facing any critical situation, so that they can help the parents to understand, learn the strategies, and also practice those strategies on the children so that their challenging behavior just gets eliminated or just reduces over time. They started coming in, and it was so helpful. Like whatever I was doing, she was doing the same thing but in a more organized and professional way. Like she had a checklist of what she was supposed to do. Like my son had to come from school, and from school he would need to sit down, and after sitting down he would get time to play or time to go to the washroom, and everything was very organized in a timetable. I used to sit down with them because that was the norm, and the behavioral therapist would work on him. What happened? we started talking like, how about like when she started explaining to me, like, look, children with autism are very smart. Some are very smart, like my son is quite smart, and some are not so smart, but we need to teach them that as your son understands, like if he does this action, he gets this reaction, or the has to suffer from the repercussions. Why don't we, like, setting up a timetable is good, but I'm having the timetable with me in my hand. Why don't we introduce visuals to him? So when she started talking visuals, I wasn't very aware of it. But then she was telling me, let me create the visuals. It is a part of our strategy too. So let me create the visuals for you and I'll bring it to you. Then we will start working on that. And she kept taking notes of what things he liked and of his daily routine as well. So she created small cards, like small visual cards for every activities he was doing inside home. And there was a choice board as well where he she could put on a few options and he could select from the few options and take out the card and just present it to us. So when she first brought in that, I was very excited because very that was very new for me. And I have seen like previously, like teachers used to do this, like using flashcards they used to teach the children, but I did not exactly know how it worked. But then after the introduction of visuals, I started understanding that, oh, okay, that's how it works. And believe me, that day was actually like I am so grateful for to her for introducing the visuals. That very day on the evening, there was a visual of a card with the logo of YouTube, with the icon of YouTube. So what happened was I was trying to figure out what he wanted to do because he wasn't able to speak, right? So I gave him the choice board with a lot of visuals on it, like if he wanted to eat, if he wanted to watch TV, and what on TV, and there were so many other options. He chose the card YouTube. He chose the card YouTube. And give me a moment. I'm sorry for the interruption. Yeah, he chose the card YouTube. And what happened was he spoke out the word YouTube, like YouTube. I was so happy that he was able to pronounce the word and he also understood what it said. So it made it more clear for me, especially thinking that, okay, my son is very good at understanding this. So yeah, that's how it really started. Then another thing was the ABCD puzzle board. So when I had the ABCD puzzle board, you can go to my YouTube channel and see that how I use the ABCD puzzle board for my son to help him understand what letters he had to put on the puzzle it, and I would speak out the word. Like for example, if D is for diamond, D is for diamond, I would just say diamond, and he would find the puzzle D and put it on the D box. So that's how I started teaching him new words, and the teachers at school were helping him to understand it too. Given that besides all of it, um, I never stopped talking to him. Like he was the only person I would talk to him at home. After my husband came home, like we would both talk, but that was a lot of talking and lot of words for him to process. But when I was alone with him at home, I would always talk to him. And believe me, like he would just intently listen to me. And I thought, like, even if he doesn't understand, it breaks my heart, but at least I have someone to talk to. And it was very like it was a very difficult situation emotionally because I always wanted him to reciprocate, but he wasn't able to do that. And when I let go of that expectation, things became much easier for me. Whenever I would watch TV, anything on TV, I would just tell him, oh look, Len, this is happening on TV. But I did not talk slowly. I would just keep talking normally as I normally would. He would just look at me like that. He would watch my reactions, and it became a habit of him, like, watching my mouth and expressions all the time. Later, what happened with time as his understanding of directions and guidance became very good, like excellent. And he was trying to say some words, but, like produce some sounds, but he wasn't able to. I became more confident and I started exploring new options, like going beyond academics. And I started teaching him, like taking the objects around the house, and I would teach him, like, look, this is a plate. This is a spoon, so that like he would understand, like, okay, this is a plate. If mommy is talking about plate, at least I can go and find plate. Then I would show him what soap is and what not. Slowly, I also informed the school of what I was doing, and they were doing the same thing. And slowly, what happened? He started speaking in one word, like one word, like if he needed something, chocolate, and it was his favorite word, chocolate, cookie, um, then fries. He was just speaking in single words, and I took advantage of the single words. So every time he would need something, I would just focus on the verb, like he needs something, right? And he needs to eat, hungry. Then I started showing him with my hand gestures, like, well, when he's feeling hungry, especially like before, he used to like start laughing incessantly, and he wouldn't stop at all. Like, you would even get scared, like, what's happening, like something is wrong with him. But then I taught him laughing is not the way to tell people, like, to communicate that you're hungry. Use your hand, put it on your tummy, rub it, and say hungry, hungry. And if you can't say, just show that you're hungry. I did not stop doing this, and with that followed many other verbs and hand gestures. And today, now, if he's in pain, if he is hungry, if he needs to go to the washroom or wash hands, dry his hair, or if he wants lotion put on his body, he'll just say it. Lotion, grab, lotion, something like that. Like nowadays he's very verbal, although he doesn't have too many words in his mouth, but yes, he can express himself. So that's how we proceeded to that. Besides this, right now, let me come to the present situation. Right now, he's in the ecolalia stage. So anything and everything I say, he will just copy after me. If I tell him, Mama, I will not do this, it will take some time, but I break it out for him like, Mama, I will not do this. I am sorry. So I use the sign language very often, so that whenever, like, he is in need of any search of vocabularies inside his head, he can at least remember the hand gestures, and one thing can complement the other, and his speech will develop even more. So nowadays, whatever I say, he finds real interest and he speaks after me. And what I'm trying to do right now is trying to break his ecolalia space by scripting the answers for him. Like, I script the questions for him and I script the answers for him. And I'm trying him to memorize the answers to the questions. So what's happening right now is, if I ask him, what is your name? Then I tell him my name. I will just do this. I won't make any sound. He says it after me because he's been learning this for a long time, right? The answers, memorizing it for a long time. So he'll say, my name. So he will say it is, and he will say his name. Whatever questions, like basic questions, how are you? He'll say, are you? He will repeat the questions after me. Then he will say, I am fine. So nowadays, what's happening when I taught him, how are you and how old are you? If when I tell him, like when I ask him, how are you? He'll say, how are you? Oh, I am 6 years old. That's what he says, because he confused the answers with the two questions. That is not a problem. However, it is a problem, but that is not a problem. But because I know that he has a good learning ability, he has a good memorizing ability. So what I'm trying to do is, I'm trying to break down the words for him, so that, and connect the words with the questions, finding the connecting words in the questions and the answers for him to hold on to as a latch. So nowadays, I can say that his speech is a lot better, and I am still hopeful that even now, if he's in the echolalia stage and he is in the Gestalt language processing level 4, when he will be breaking down these words into and using and try to use these words meaningfully, he will be able to, make sentences out of it. Right now, for the past year, he has not been going to a special school anymore. He has started schooling in a regular school with in a regular big classroom, and he's doing quite well. He's not lashing out. He's not having any meltdowns. His meltdowns have stopped a long time ago. So yes, speech also helped with his meltdown. Like whenever, he would have problem, he would just say, noise, noise, noise. Then I would just hold to cover his ear. And, the following words which came after he calmed down was really helpful. Another tip I would like to give is don't skip on giving massages to your children. Like if you want them to listen to you, if you want them to, talk with you, what do we do with our parents? Yeah, like if you want something from our parents, especially uh, us, like Asian children, we go to our parents and we massage their feet and hands. We try to sit down with them, look into their eye and get their confidence. Then we tell them like, okay, mommy, I need this, right? Or papa, I need this. And that's when they're more vulnerable and prone to giving it to our requests. So what I did was I thought, okay, if I give him the massages and if I make him feel better, he will be more calm. And if I keep talking to him at that point, he will listen to me. And it worked. So massages are very great. Oromotor massages are very great. You can find a lot of videos on YouTube, and I was even thinking of making a video with my son on YouTube on the oromotor massages for parents who want to learn about this. It's very simple, it's not very difficult. And don't stop talking to your children, and try to find what interests him and find visuals for them to, exaggerate the words and showing it. And when the visual and audio is connected, it helps their brain to, formulate the words faster. And don't keep very high expectations from them. Even if you have high expectations, keep it inside your head, but don't let your heart bleed, because if you do that, your child will be the one suffering, because you will become frustrated and eventually your child is going to suffer from that. Your child is going to feel bad about it, and we don't want our children to feel any low. Yeah. So, yes, that is it. And that's all from me. If you have any questions, I am open. My platform is open to accept any questions, and I would like to attend to you all. I'll wait for a few minutes and let's see if there are any questions. And if you don't have any questions right now, and if you're not watching the live session right now, it's okay. It will be recorded and there will be a link posted in my profile. And we if you have any questions, you can just put it in the comment box, and I will get back to you. The team Autism Connect is going to send me the questions so that I can review it and I can give you the answers as per se. So I hope that you have found this live session informative. If you have liked the live session, please connect with Autism Pilot, follow their page, and follow my page as well. My name is Tazkia Arusa. I'm from Autism Pilot. I have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel as well. I am my task, my goal is to help parents of children with autism, to help them with strategies and advices so that they can help their children from home. So before we send our children to centers, we should start from home. We are our children's best teachers, but that doesn't mean that they don't need professional help. If you can get professional help, that's better, but start from home. So I guess you've liked the live session, and I thank Autism Connect for hosting this for me. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye. Bye for now.